So for those of you that didn't hear, we just had an election recently in the United States. So let's talk a little bit about geopolitics. So Bob, with that election happening and now in the rearview mirror, what do you think is going to happen to supply chains geopolitically as we look forward into the next 12 months?
Well, this is the question of all questions, and this is certainly going to be on the listing of many analysts' predictions for 2025 and beyond, and it's clearly on ours as well. Indeed, there are ongoing rapid changes that have happened, and the interesting part about this is, as our listeners take a step back, you might recall that over the last couple of months, there's been this notion in the industry that, finally, we're getting to some period of stabilization. We can take a step back now and let's, figure out where we are and what we need to do and everything. And boom, as you said, the election happened. Donald Trump was elected. He's president-elect. And to my notion before about we've seen the movie before, well, the movie is the first Trump administration and what happened. And on our Supply Chain Matters blog, believe me when I tell you, there wasn't a day that didn't go by where we didn't have a plethora of developments that we could write about, whether it was increased tariffs, trade wars, trade restrictions, all of the kaleidoscope of events. And basically, that's what we see forthcoming, okay?
Yep.
And we're already seeing early indicators of that. Just last week, the Trump administration presented, its first salvo, 25% tariffs for Mexico and Canada, import tariffs. Well, guess what? That blows up the USMCA trade agreement. So what does that mean? All right. And then the notion of China, 5%, 10%. Now, remember, these are political processes. All right. So these are like poker games. You throw a bluff out there, and then you got to go through the process, and there's got to be some rationalization, and then it has to settle. So in the meantime, supply chain teams are going to be geared back into the notions that they were during the pandemic, right after the pandemic, when demand exceeded all available supply, and then when the global logistics network atrophied.